our first movie review, though, maybe for one of us, not so much.
Yes, we've got The Hangover, the new comedy classic, which
new, quote unquote.
well, it's kind of it was kind of like the last gasp of Hollywood really making R-rated comedies.
That's true. Yeah,
it was kind of in that era where you had things like Superbad, Horrible Bosses.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those are really the examples that are coming to mind. I'm sure there's a couple others, but
yeah.
And I think that I forget, was Superbad first or was Hangover first?
I think Superbad was first.
Okay,
Superbad was like 2007, 2008.
Okay, that sounds right. I actually saw Superbad in the theater and thought it was all right. But
okay. Yeah.
But
yeah, so The Hangover.
I still see people with McLovin merchandise to this day.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Yes, I guess we'll actually have to talk about Hangover at some point.
Yeah. But with The Hangover, this was 2009. Todd Phillips directed it. Of course, he did the Joker movies. Unfortunately, he did that second one recently, which but he also did Old School, Starsky and Hutch.
Which I think Starsky and Hutch is a bit underrated.
I do too, yeah.
I remember the one scene where they shot through the wall and killed the pony. My mom was just kind of helpless after that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so premise of The Hangover is that it's a bachelor party gone horribly awry.
Yes. So our three main, or they're four guys, but we'll really only follow three of them. We've got the groom, Doug, who's played by Justin Bartha, who, and some people probably might not know him. The only thing I know, only other thing I know him from was he was Nicolas Cage's sidekick in National Treasure.
Yeah, a quick look over this is show of his IMDb is showing me a lot of 5s and lower.
Oh yeah,
a lot of. Oh no, he was in the National Treasure. He was in that National Treasure Disney Plus show.
Oh, he was. Oh,
I don't even remember anybody mentioning that.
I remember people briefly mentioning it, and they said it was really bad.
Oof.
But yeah,
good for him for getting a paycheck, I guess.
Oh yeah. So Doug is getting married, and so they're gonna have a bachelor party in Vegas, and he's bringing along his two lifelong friends, Phil, who's played by Bradley Cooper, and then Stu, who's played by Ed Helms. And then, of course, they have to bring along Alan, who is Zach Galifianakis, and that's Doug's future brother-in-law. Of course, Alan is, it's the classic scenario where you have like a group of guys, a close circle of friends, and they're like, they got to bring in this outsider who's just really weird. They're like, oh, why do we have to bring this guy along?
Right. Like it's just like, oh, man, why do we have to bring this loser along?
Yeah.
Which is actually kind of perfect casting for Zach Galifianakis, who I'm just going to go on the record and say that I have never quite understood why the world thought he was funny for about a 5-year period there, and why they kept putting it in movies. This probably helped.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because this movie was a hit.
Big hit.
Yeah,
it spawned 3 sequels.
2.
Excuse me, 2.
Yeah.
It's part of a trilogy.
Right.
Yeah. It also, Bridesmaids, I believe, is completely unrelated to this, but I'm pretty sure it was Bridesmaids. Wait, Bridesmaids come after this, right?
I think so. Yeah, Bridesmaids, I want to say it was like early 2010s.
Yeah, 2011. Yeah, 2 years later. Yeah, I firmly believe that Bridesmaids would not have been made without this.
Oh no.
Just because it always seems so similar to me.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so then so as they get to Vegas and they're about ready to party, and then then the next morning they wake up in their hotel suite, and the place is trashed, and they all are just like in various states of disarray and pain and
Right.
everything. And
Stu's missing one tooth. Uh, there's a tiger in the bathroom, and nobody knows where Doug is, the groom.
yeah,
So,
and
so they have to like retrace their steps to try to reverse engineer how the night went, so they can find Doug and get him to his wedding the next day.
right. Yeah, and the other, of course, the other part of it too is they find a baby in there. That's the baby that Galifianakis has got, and he affectionately names him Carlos. um, and of course, yeah, and the basically the whole movie is just them, retracing their steps and getting into all kinds of trouble along the way. They find out that the tiger is actually Mike Tyson's tiger.
He has an extended cameo in the movie as himself.
Yeah, which is probably my favorite part of the movie. he's he's listening to Phil Collins in the air tonight, and he's like, "Oh no, wait, I love this part of the song." And then the kid is actually the baby is Heather Graham's character's baby. Jade was her name. She's an exotic dancer who Ed Helms, Stu gets hitched to, even though he has a very just domineering and unfaithful and just plain old god awful girlfriend.
Yeah, let's kind of break down the cast a little bit. So
Yeah.
we've already described Zach's character a bit. Alan, he's the weirdo. He very quickly turned me off just because, how to put it, I think that he was kind of edgy in 2009, but today he just kind of comes off as try hard, might be the way I would put it.
Yeah.
It's also like that this very awkward flavor of 2010s millennial comedy, right? The whole fun of it is, haha, Dimitri Martin is awkward, except that like Dimitri Martin used clever wordplay where Zach was just like, oh, I can't be within 200 feet of schools or a playground. It's like,
yeah, like,
that's just gross.
Zach was just like, oh, I can't do it.
Oh, I can hear myself in your.
Sorry, I was messing around my phone. Very sorry about that.
No worries. All right, so like he's like the awkward loner. He's the one who's there to say the weird line. Bradley Cooper's character is basically he's the kind of the Chad friend who's kind of a complete jerk too, and I think that part of where I couldn't connect with this movie is that I am much more like Stu than any other member of this cast, in the sense that
me too. Yeah.
Like not that I have like a domineering girlfriend or anything like that, but more that he's nice. He wants good things to happen to people. The only thing he does in this movie that's even remotely wrong is he lies to his girlfriend that he keeps lying to his girlfriend that they're going to this Martha's Vineyard to go to this wine tasting when they're in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
But
I mean,
meanwhile, Bradley Cooper's character, he's a teacher, kind of a grown-up frat boy, I guess is the way I put it. He has a kid, seems to have his life together. He in the opening bit, he steals a bunch of money that he was given to take the kids on a trip and puts it into the gambling kitty.
Yeah. Which wouldn't that be a fireable offense?
If not an arrestable offense.
Yeah.
So like the two out of the three characters gave me a very bad impression. I would also say that's kind of interesting is that I would actually say that those two are the ones who don't actually have a character arc.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, Stu is really the only one who has a character arc. Yeah,
Which that's that can be fine. Like the movie I kept comparing this to in my head was Blues Brothers, where that isn't my favorite movie ever, I'll admit, but um, it's just an example of where you can have steady state characters where the two of them don't really change through that movie, but that's okay because they are distinctive characters who you can just present with different weird scenarios,
yeah, yeah,
and they have a larger goal. And this one they have a larger goal, but if you have one of the three characters who's growing and progressing through the movie as he slowly learns to man up and stop putting up with bad treatment, it feels weird to have the other two characters be static.
yeah, 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 and of course we forgot to mention uh, Ken Jeong's character, Leslie Chow.
Yes, a very sassy, stereotypically Asian talking mob boss of some sort.
Yeah, who they had stuff in the trunk of their car.
Of the stolen police car. Actually, no, wait, no, excuse me.
No,
That wasn't the stolen police car. That was in the
it was in the
in the
Mercedes.
fancy sports car that they've been lent by Zach's dad,
Yeah, yeah,
played by Jeffrey Tambor, who I always enjoy seeing in things. So it's kind of a shame he got canceled a while back.
yeah, indeed. Yeah, but yeah, he's he claims that he. Well, I won't get into the plot, but yeah, it's he shows up in the other movies too, which it's just kind of like the joke wears a little thin in the sequels. Let's just say.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that this is the first time I'm going to say that I enjoyed the ending more than the journey to get there, which sounds weird to say because okay, like usually if I'm watching a movie and I'm fairly checked out, the ending very rarely brings it home. But in this case, where Doug was, I don't think I'm gonna spoil this. Where
Yeah.
Doug it turned out to be was actually pretty interesting, like very clever. They actually set it up in a couple of ways early on, and I could see other people actually predicting this, but
Yeah.
uh, it was a nice little fake out.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and they they kind of tried to duplicate it in the second movie, and it was just like,
No.
yeah, they do something kind of similar. Yeah.
Okay, so is Todd Phillips just genetically incapable of making a good sequel? Is that what's going on here?
I think so. Yeah.
Again, okay, I would say like maybe what's going on is that in the case of both of his big movies, in this case, Hangover and The Joker, he had no plans for a sequel, and they backed up the Brinks truck, so he decided to have fun with them. It almost seems like.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah. That seems likely. Yeah. Um.
But like the other comparison I'll make with Blues Brothers, and also Animal House, like that's like those were two comedies that I didn't really care for, and that's like the brand of comedy this was kind of going for, in my opinion. I think it felt
Yeah.
very much of a piece.
It's frat boy humor. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Um, both of those movies were full of like clever little lines.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, we have both kinds of music, country and Western. Or like when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
I watched this movie on Saturday, and moments stood out to me, but there's no like pithy bon mots or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of one of those. The humor is kind of like just throw a bunch of stuff at you that makes absolutely no sense in the moment, and the everybody's freaking out, and of course the famous moment where Stu's in the back of the police car. He's like, "What's going?"
Yeah,
Like that.
Yeah.
It's that kind of It's just
right. It is like it's the juxtaposition with the expected and the unexpected.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's,
So I guess between this movie, Animal House, and Blues Brothers, frat boy humor is not your thing.
I guess not. My hierarchy for those movies would definitely be, I would put Blues Brothers on top, then Animal House, then this. And I'll tell you why. It's like, so this, just so the audience can calibrate my opinion based on their own tastes. Like, my favorite parts of Animal House were whenever Otter was sweet talking somebody. Like, I am a dialogue heavy guy. I like cleverness and wordplay and irony and things like that. Just like, you know, Mike Tyson punching somebody is kind of funny, but it's like, I've known about that scene since I saw the trailer back in 2009.
That's true, yeah.
So it didn't have a lot of shock value.
Yeah, and although the other part I like was when they're at his house and they're watching the security footage, and Galifianakis is relieving himself in Tyson's pool, and he's like, I think I should probably go wait outside. And Tyson, I think that's a good idea, Alan.
Well, what I'll also say is that I watched the entire series of Mike Tyson's Murder Mysteries, the Cartoon Network show that he did, or the Adult Swim show he did. And so this Mike Tyson is almost like he can carry on a logical train of thought. So like even on that one, I've seen it done elsewhere. So
yeah.
So audience members, you might enjoy this. I can see where somebody would enjoy this, and like I said, I did actually like the ending because Stu got a good payoff at the end.
Yeah.
Where Doug was actually really clever and well set up. Just, reasonable minds will differ.
Yeah.
Because I know that you do enjoy this movie and you do enjoy frat boy comedy.
Yes. So I will say, stay away from the sequels.
From when we talked about this before, it just really sounded like it was the search for more money.
It really was, yeah. Yeah, the second movie is basically this movie, but in Bangkok instead of Vegas. And then the third movie, I don't know what they were trying to do with that movie, that one.
Okay. So second movie, how many jokes about ladyboys were there?
One.
That's actually way more restraint than I was expecting.
Oh, there's a whole thing in there with it.
So it's like so it's recurring.
Yeah. It does get brought up in there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's like the one stereotype I can think of about Bangkok besides chess games there. And if you know that reference, then you're cool.
That song, by the way, is in the second movie, and I won't say how it fits in there, but I might tell you later. But yeah.
Okay.